you guys. How are you all doing today? We are doing well here. It's pretty outside and it warmed up just a tiny bit from yesterday's rain. It's not quite as chilly as last week. So I'm just fixing things on my desk. I had a whole story recorded for you guys, and Marigold came in and walked in front of it and knocked over the lamp and knocked down the equipment and like the whole thing. Like, I'm not a professional. I cannot work around these circumstances. So I closed the door so she can't be in here anymore. So I'm going to do this story again. But that's okay. I don't mind one bit. Okay, so today's story is called The First Dog. Once again, by Jan Brett. We're eventually going to get to the end of these Jan Brett books that I just checked out every single one from the library when I realized how much I liked her. This is about the first dog, how they assume that dogs were domesticated from way back in the caveman days. So let's learn about this, okay? I don't know how much you guys know about it, but I really don't know very much. So this is going to be a lot of fun for me. Here goes. Okay, here we go. Long, long ago, in the great days of the Pleistocene, Kip the cave boy bounded down the trail on his way home. He avoided the aurochs, the cave bears, and the megaceros. He evaded the woolly rhinoceros, the wild horse, and the mighty mammoth. But he was getting tired and hungry, and he was still a long way from home. He marched on until he saw a great rock. It was a good place to stop and rest. Kip reached in his bag for a woolly rhino rib, still sweet and smoky from his fire. Suddenly, up popped a paleo wolf, looking for leftovers. Paleo wolf, that's how you'd say it. Suddenly, up popped a paleo wolf, looking for leftovers. Wolf's nose began to twitch and sniff. He sniffed to the left, and he sniffed to the right. "What are you doing?" teased Kip. "What can you smell in this emptiness?" Paleo Wolf held his snout high in the air. With his keen nose, he could smell a rain cloud across the valley, the track of a tiny toad, the pelt of a prying pachyderm. But most of all, he could smell roasted woolly rhino bones, and he gave a hungry whine. "Pooh," said Kip. "I can't smell anything but my dinner, and it is all for me." And he turned his back on Wolf. But Paleo Wolf had already hurried away, and when Kip saw the reason why, he was just able to get away in time. Soon Kip was back on the homeward trail. He walked on and on until he spied a cave. It was a fine place to stop and rest. He thought about another rhino rib, still crackly and crunchy from the fire. Up popped Paleo Wolf, looking for leftovers. Wolf's ears began to turn and dip. He listened to the left and he listened to the right. "What are you doing?" mocked Kip, taking a big bite. "What can you hear in this silence?" Wolf cocked his head. With his fine canine ears, he could hear a fish rise in the river, a leaf fall, the soft pant, pant, pant of a cave bear. But most of all, he could hear the snap of a woolly rhino bones, still crisp from the fire, and he gave a pleading howl. "Pooh," said Kip, "I can't hear anything except my teeth crunching on these very tasty bones." And he threw a clump of moss at Paleo Wolf. But Paleo Wolf had already hurried away, and when Kip saw the reason why, he was just able to get away in time. Soon Kip was back on the homeward trail, more footsore and weary than ever. He trudged on until he saw a big tree. It was just the place to stop and rest. He climbed the tree and reached for a woolly rhino rib, still pearly and greasy from the fire. Up popped Paleo Wolf, looking for leftovers. Wolf's eyes began to sparkle and dance. He looked to the left and he looked to the right. "What are you doing?" jeered Kip. "What can you see in this darkness?" Wolf's eyes glowed. With his sharp eyes, he could see the shimmer of a distant drop of dew, a mouse scurrying far away, a feline sleeping high above. But most of all, he could see a pearly, greasy morsel of rhino bone shining in the moonlight, and he licked his chops. "Pooh," said Kip. "I can't see anything except, of course, my roasted, toasted, crispy, crunchy, pearly, greasy, woolly rhino rib. And you won't be tasting that because I want it all to myself." Then Kip yelled, "Shoo!" as loud as he could. The yell resounded up and down the tree. It woke every living thing around. Instantly, Paleo Wolf's nose wrinkled and his ears went back. His eyes narrowed and his tail stood out. He looked so terrible that Kip threw the whole bag of rhino ribs down from the tree. "Help yourself, Wolfie!" But Paleo Wolf did not care about dinner now. His mane bristled and ridged down his back. A long growl shook from his throat. It was his last warning. Kip opened his eyes very wide. He looked all around, but he could not smell or hear or see anything. He whispered, "What do you know, wise wolf?" But Paleo Wolf was gone. "There is great danger here," thought Kip. "I must disappear too." And he shrank into the leafy branches and made himself very small. Just in time, for high in the tree was the most fearsome of creatures, the saber-toothed cat. She crouched, she snarled, and then she sprang. She hurtled past Kip, hidden in the leaves, and pounced on the pile of woolly rhino bones down below. All that night as he sat in the tree, Kip thought and thought. He shivered over Paleo Wolf's last warning. It had not been 1 second too soon. The next morning, Kip climbed down. There was Paleo Wolf looking for leftovers. Together, they looked at the spot where the bones had been, and they were very gloomy. Finally, Kip made a speech. He said, "Wolfie, if you will use your keen nose and your fine ears and your sharp eyes to keep me from being eaten up, I promise to share with you all the woolly rhino bone ribs and even mammoth meat that I cook over my fire." Paleo Wolf barked, meaning yes, and then he wagged his tail, the very first wolf to do so. When Kip saw that, he cried, "And I will call you Dog," which means one who wags his tail. Then Kip the cave boy and the first dog went on home. Okay, so I wanted to know more about this, how dogs were domesticated. So I found a YouTube video that seems like it's meant for kids, so it'll be right about my level with science. And this kind of explains it, so I thought this might be kind of fun. We'll watch this together. Hang on now. Restart. Unmute. All right, here we go.
Hello, citizen. You know, we humans are mighty inventors. We make tools and shape the world around us, from the wheel to sliced bread to the internet. But by far, our greatest invention is not a carby loaf or a series of tubes. It's a living, breathing, barking thing. That's right, we're talking about the invention of dogs. Let's go way back. 30,000 years ago, our ancestors lived as nomadic hunter-gatherers. Here they are, sitting around the fire that they also invented, cooking a feast after a successful hunt. The smell of meat travels outside of the camp, downwind to a pack of hungry proto-wolves, the common ancestor of wolves and dogs. They wander over to our camps looking for leftovers. The aggressive ones are driven off, but the tame ones get a bit closer, give everybody a sniff, get to know the tribe. This is where the evolution of these canines splits off. The friendlier canines settle near human camps to raise their families. By protecting their pups, they protect us, and we'd throw them a bone. It was a mutually beneficial arrangement, food for protection. This continued for generations as these less aggressive canines pass on their tameness to their children. By 16,700 years ago, they're domestic, no longer wild and self-sufficient like their wolf cousins. They are dogs. They've evolved to become contributing members of society, helping us hunt and pulling our sleds. When we eventually moved to farming, we brought them with us, and they evolved to feed off farm scraps. We gave them nicknames, venerating those that were exceptional hunters, mourning those that died at funerals, burying them with ceremonial objects for the afterlife, or taking them with us to our afterlife, like the mummified pups of ancient Egypt. We were inseparable. Dogs were loyal, hardworking, and eager to please. But despite all that, humans wanted more. You have some people thinking,
Yeah, this dog's okay, but I need something to help me track game.
so they took the fastest dogs with the keenest noses and bred them together until they had a hound that could track game through the forest.
Okay, sure, but can it pull a sled?
So they bred the larger dogs together, which gave birth to bigger, stronger dogs for sled pulling.
Yeah, but, polar bear?
Yep, 9,000 years ago in Siberia, they bred even bigger dogs to hunt polar bears. Already, people are learning to guide their evolution. A lot of modern breeds only go back 400 years, but all these breeds descended from those proto-wolves of 30,000 years ago. So how'd they get so different? A 50-year Russian experiment using silver foxes sought to answer that question. Belyev's experimenters would test the foxes for their defensive reactions to humans. By selecting only the tamest 10% for breeding and exposing those pups to human contact from a young age, they began to act more like domestic dogs after only 4 generations. They wagged their tails and licked experimenters excitedly. They even started to bark. While this behavioral evolution was impressive, this being the only population of truly domestic foxes in the world, what was more impressive was the physical changes. After only a few generations of selecting for tameness alone, the foxes now had floppier ears and curlier tails, traits common in other domesticated animals. Their fur also began to change color, becoming lighter and more silver. Selecting for tameness resulted in a reduction of adrenaline. Since adrenaline shares a biochemical pathway with melanin, the hormone responsible for skin and fur pigmentation, the result was lighter coats. What this experiment revealed is that many of the physical traits we see in domestic dogs might have evolved from humans just picking friendlier pups. As some of the earliest known breeds start to emerge 4,000 years ago, we begin to see just how much we can guide their evolution. The Saluki, a close relative of the Afghan hound, thought to be one of the most ancient dog breeds. The Samoyed, bred by Siberian Samoyedic people to hunt, pull sleds, and herd reindeer. The Basenji, barkless dogs used to hunt in ancient Egypt. The Shar-Pei, whose wrinkly folds gave no purchase to the wild boar they were bred to hunt. And the Chow Chow, the black-tongued lions of Chinese legend, war dogs said to have fought alongside the Mongolians.
Yeah, these dogs are okay, but what if I could make it portable and more compact?
Shih Tzus, Pekingese, and Pugs, all bred in China, are lightweight and can go anywhere, great for nobles on the go. And the Aztec Chihuahua can be used as a living hot water bottle to soothe aches and pains. Tired of turning a spit? Grab yourself a turn-spit dog. Victorians would keep their spit going all day long with a pair of these fellas. Of course, with the invention of clockwork roasting jacks, these guys were out of work, and now they're extinct. We kept on inventing dogs to suit our needs, creating new breeds with distinct features. The only way to keep those distinct features was to breed those dogs with other dogs that had the same features. Keeping the breed pure meant limiting their possible mates to the point of inbreeding. Because of those strict eugenics, purebreds had a fairly shallow gene pool to pull from. And over the generations, health issues began to emerge. Huskies are prone to autoimmune diseases. Labs get obese. Beagles get epilepsy. And one of those super adorable portable pugs might just be sitting there and its eye pops out. In general, mutts are much healthier. Grabbing the reins of their evolution and breeding them to suit our whims might not be doing doggo any favors, but we've created hundreds of different breeds. There's something for everybody. Some are great for condo people, others for guarding junkyards. Whatever you're looking for in a pet, there's a dog for that. From sharing food by campfire in the Neocene to chasing frisbees in the park, dogs and humans have a long history. When we come home at the end of the day, they bark and jump around, licking our faces, sometimes peeing with excitement. One look into those puppy dog eyes and it's easy to see that dogs are truly humans' best friend, because we bred them that way.
Hey, what'd you guys think about that? Did you learn something new about how we domesticated dogs and just dogs in general? I thought that was really interesting and makes me happy that we select mutts, right? Because not only do they live longer, but it's just the right thing to do because we take animals from the shelters, we adopt ones that need homes, and we don't need some fancy dog, right? We just need a dog that's good for our family and who we love and take care of and who loves and takes care of us. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'm actually going to be recording a couple more books today because I feel like I am a little bit behind on my own BIMA schedule, and I have some that I should really take back to the library because I've had them for a long time, and even though they're not due, it's only nice to take them back when we're done so that someone else can enjoy them. So that's what I'm going to do today. I don't know that I will release them all to YouTube today. Maybe I'll do that a little at a time, but I'm at least going to get them recorded so we can enjoy them. I love you guys. I hope you're tucked in all nice and cozy. Have a good day.